Hello Dakin Bakers and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to do spaghetti puttanesca, but actually what we're going to do is just make the sauce because I will cook the spaghetti later on. And as we all know, you can't keep spaghetti warm for hours before you need it because it will all go like glue. So the first thing we need to do is chop up our onion. So I've just got one onion that I peeled to make it a little bit easier, so you didn't have to watch me struggling. So I've got one onion peeled and chopped. I've moved the camera a tiny bit down, so hopefully you can see more of the chopping board today. So here we go. I hope you've all got nice sharp knives at home. This is a Japanese knife, so they are very good for keeping their edge. And I let my husband sharpen them because I certainly can't. Right, so there we are, there's all the onions chopped. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our frying pan, different frying pan today, and we're going to put it on the heat, on not too hot a ring. You'll sort of learn with me, it's either hot or cool, and that's not too hot, that one. So, in there, I'm going to put the juice out of the anchovies, because with this recipe we use anchovies and olive oil, and it seems a shame to waste that lovely olive oil. So that's in there, and we're going to add our onions to that. Starting to sizzle already, and I've spilt some on the cooker, look. Get rid of that. Right, so the next job is to slice the garlic, not chop it or crush it, but just slice it into nice thin slices. So I was looking up earlier what Puttanesca means. Puttanesca is from Naples in Italy. That's where it originates. And Puttanesca, translated as it is, means prostitute. And I'm sure a lot of trainees are going to ask me what that means, but I'll let you ask your mums and dads. And it was called that because in the war, a long time ago, when the Spanish were fighting, they had Italian chefs, and they made this recipe out of whatever they could find in the cupboard, which at the time was tomatoes, garlic and olives. Since then it's obviously been adapted slightly, and I think you'll find my recipe is probably a little bit different to others that you find. But this is the one that we do at the cafe, and this is the one that people seem to like. So we're going to put the garlic in there. That was 4 cloves of garlic. And big cloves as well. I do like my garlic. Right, so that's cooking nicely. So in Puttanesca we have onions and garlic, anchovies, capers. Now capers come from the immature buds of the caper bush, and it's grown mainly in the Mediterranean and Southeast Asia. I've got some really nice hard green olives. You can put black ones in, but I prefer green. We've got a tin of tomatoes. I normally use cherry tomatoes, but sadly in these times there was tomato wars going on at the supermarket, and that was the only tin of tomatoes I could get. I've got a little bit of my homemade passata here, if it needs thinning down a bit at all. Now we grow our own tomatoes here in the greenhouses, and we find that we have a bumper crop and we never know what to do with them all. So this is our passata that we make. So we roast the tomatoes with onions and garlic and basil in the oven, let all the juice come out, and then I put it through my special machine which is attached to my mixer. So it blends it all up, takes the pits out, and I'm left with all the juice, which I then can, and I can use it for the rest of the year. Good way to use up tomatoes. Right, so while they're frying down, let's cut the olives in half so you can see them in the dish. Now I started to make this at the cafe. I think it might have even been this year. It's been a very recent addition to our menu. And the lady that I work with on Tuesdays and Thursdays is called Linda. I know all my trainees will know her well. And this is one of the dishes that she really likes. And she's told me about different adaptations that she does to it. So one of the things she does is she puts, once the sauce is made, she then puts fat pieces of fish. So something like a haddock loin or a cod loin in the sauce, puts a lid on it, and then puts it in the oven. And that is really, really nice. I've tried it myself. I actually had people here for dinner a couple of weeks ago before we were into shutdown, and I got lots of compliments on my cod puttanesca. So I have Linda to thank for that. Now I'm not going to use the whole tin of anchovies because they are very, very strong. So I'll leave half in the tin to use on another day. My husband does most of the cooking in this house. And he loves anchovies in cooking, so I know they'll be used up. So that's about half a tin of anchovies. Sort of just cut up slightly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in with the onions and the garlic. So as they cook, they sort of mush up, so you can't actually see them in the sauce, but they add flavour to the sauce. A lot of people don't like anchovies, but you can hide it quite well in this dish. One more olive in the pot. So another reason why Linda likes this is because she's a celiac. And I'm sure most of you out there know what a celiac is, but she has to be very careful what she eats. And since I've been working with Linda, it's really opened my eyes to how hard it can be for some people to find things that they can eat in the supermarket. I mean, you'll be amazed what goes into some products and how often wheat is just slipped in. I didn't realise until I worked with her how hard it is for her to find things that she can eat. But she's a very good cook, and I think she adapts things very well. Okay, so that's cooking up nicely. I don't know if you saw last night on the Dakin Baker's site, Joe Strike put up a lovely picture of his banana loaf that he made. I don't know what he put in it. I personally like to put a few cherries in mine, or dates, and maybe some nuts. But Joe's cake looked really, really nice, so well done, Joe. I haven't heard anything from Kyriaki today, but she was going to try and make a pasta bake. So hopefully, Kyriaki, with all my advice, you got that sorted. And Daniel, I hope you make the leek and mushroom gratin for your carers. They'll really enjoy it. I've had lots of good feedback on the site. Even got followers in Australia, so I can't moan about that, can I? Right, so they're all cooking down really nicely. Now on my shelf of goodies, I have this jar here, which is chilli flakes. Now these are our own homegrown chilies that my husband has ground up and put in there for me. So I'd say they're a little bit hotter than you get in the shop, so I'll just be a little bit wary of chilli flakes. And another thing he does is he was making chilli oil. So he put his homemade chilies into the oil and fused them. We gave those away at Christmas presents, and I've had lots of good feedback on that. So, this is the only problem about cooking. There's a lot of waiting around, I'm afraid, but I can talk to you while we're doing that. So as I said yesterday, the postman still hasn't been, so if the dogs start, I'm very sorry. Right, so that's cooking. I'm just going to wash my hands because I touched my face. You all know the rules at the moment. 20 seconds with hot soapy water. This probably won't be 20 seconds, but I will give it a really good go for you. There. Now tonight I'll be serving my Puttanesca on gluten-free spaghetti. Now, another plug for Linda. And until I met Linda, I thought all gluten-free products were rubbish, I must admit. But the supermarket seem to have got their acts together. And this is from my local supermarket. I'm not going to name names, but we all know where I go shopping every day. That's a very good one. But I believe the supermarket round the corner to the cafe does a very good one as well. So any good supermarket will have very good gluten-free produce now. Right, so that's all cooking down. The anchovies, you see, it's all disappeared, just like tiny specks in there now. So to that, I'm going to add, I'll get a teaspoon, I think it's so scary, these chilli flakes. I'd say I'm going to put that much in. Okay, so that's about half a teaspoon, and even that will probably be a little bit too hot for me because I'm not the best with anything too hot. You can always add, remember, but you can't take away. So put that in. Now we're going to put a squirt of tomato puree. So I buy this make, but any tomato puree will do. That was a good squirt, probably more than a tablespoon. I'll bring the pan over so you can see. So that's the tomato puree. I'm going to give all that a stir. Now today I'm going to start my first one-to-one video calling lesson with one of my trainees. So if any of you trainees out there are interested in one-to-one video calling, which we will be starting very shortly, if you've got Alison's email address, give her an email or get your mum or carer to, and we'll try and get something set up for you, because I can do this every day, it's not a problem, but I'd like to individually reach out to people if I can and get their feedback. At the moment I'm just talking to my stepladder, so it'd be nice to talk to you face to face. Right, so that's all cooked. So now we're going to add a tin of tomatoes, which really should be the lovely cherry tomatoes, but it's not. So we give those a stir, and then we're going to add maybe 2 big spoonfuls of these. You have to be a bit careful because you don't really want the brine, and I don't really want to strain the brine off because I'm going to keep these capers. So there you go, so that's about 2 spoonfuls there. So they'll go in. And to that, I'm going to add the olives. I have to think what I was doing next then. So there go the olives. And we'll give that a good stir. Do you think maybe my boss will buy me a camera so I can have one there and one behind me, and then you can actually see what's going on over here? And all that has to do now is cook. I mean, I would suggest that you check for seasoning, which I will do now. Oh, got a bit of chilli there. I will put in only a tiny bit of salt because the anchovies are quite salty, and a grind of pepper. But on the whole, that's all there is to it. It's a really easy dish for you to do at home. So the ingredients are tomatoes, anchovies, capers, olives, onions, garlic, puree, and chilli flakes. So most of you may have those. The only thing that you won't have probably is capers or anchovies, but treat yourself. So, and when that's served on the spaghetti, I'll then rip off some of my fresh basil and put that on the top. So there you are, spaghetti puttanesca. Lovely dish to have at home with your family, and a nice one to do if people come round for dinner. My guests really enjoyed it with the cod. So I will see you next week for a cooking session, because as you all know, I only really work at the cafe Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, so we're only cooking Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. But tune in tomorrow because I'm going to do a different sort of video that I'm going to put up to show you some of the different aspects of my life. So tomorrow will probably be about bees. Okay, speak to you tomorrow. Take care, keep well. Bye.